Welcome to another episode of the Strange Motion Way podcast. I'm Tim Strange, along with my hostess with the mostest.
Carrie Strange.
This week is really awesome. We got our good friend Dave Shuten.
He's your brother.
Yeah, he's my brother from another mother, or from the same mother, kind of. We kind of explained that in this podcast.
I think you guys had different fathers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Poor Sherry. Anyway. Been wanting to get Dave for a while. He now works at Galpin Autosports, part of the great collection. He's been around show rods, Roth restorations, recreations of missing Roth cars.
He's my people.
Yeah, because he doesn't like a lot of people. So we're very honored that Dave took the time to do this interview with us. He built the Iron Orchid out of the Galpin shop that was in a bunch of magazines, and just, street rods and hot rods, the Iron Orchid. It's incredible. And he was the main builder on the show that was on the Discovery Channel for 2 years. It had two names. I believe it started out as Driven and then was Car Kings. I think I said it the other way and he said vice versa. So it was a great show. Did one season, and I guess it was incredible because you could learn stuff. They always had a learning segment of history of hot rods and customs and stuff like that. And it was awesome. I wish they would have got a couple more seasons, but as we talked to Dave, it's not fun. They did all that shows and building, and even did one.
Don't ruin it. Wait till we get to the segment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's get in it.
Let's go. Dave Shuten.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
Hey welders, ready to upgrade your gear and save some serious dough in the process? The Miller Build with Blue Savings and Rebate Program has you covered. Find amazing deals and cashback rebates on a wide range of Miller products, from welders to plasma cutters and everything in between, all backed by our 3-year warranty. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Take advantage of the Miller Build with Blue program now. Visit us online or stop by your nearest Miller distributor today to start saving.
Okay, welcome to another episode of the Strange Motion Way podcast. I am Tim Strange. I'm here with my healing up and not walking with a cane anymore hostess with the mostest. You gonna say who you are?
Carrie Strange.
Yeah, because not everybody can see you.
Oh.
So we have a great friend here, great custom guy, Dave Shuten from Galpin Autosports, where he has built and restored and helps kind of dusks off. I don't know. They're on the other side of the room where he is right now, and it's amazing. The historic show rods, customs, and memorabilia. Dave collects an unbelievable amount of memorabilia. He's inducted. For you to say. That is a big word for me to
he
say. He
struggled with it.
So I know he's inducted in the Starbird National Rod and Custom Hall of Fame. I know he's in the Grand National Rod and Custom, or the Grand National Show Hall of Fame. Are you in the Circle of Champions at Detroit?
Nope.
Okay, that one I didn't know because I couldn't find that online.
I've never even
from Michigan, worked at GM for 16 years, and he was the past star of Discovery Channel's. It was called Car Kings and then Driven for a while, which was one of my favorite. The other way but I know it changed names there, and it was very cool. You could actually learn some history about customs and hot rods, and you restored an Ed Roth car on there. So we'll get to that. And he was also, I found it's a 2-time House of Color prestigious painter award winner. So that's another big word for me to say. So welcome, Dave. Thank you. You're coming from the shop there at Galpin?
Yes. Yeah, I'm still here in the shop working and trying to stay cool.
So again, we want to thank you for taking the time to do that. Dave normally turns this type of stuff down, and he is on his phone, which is, it's one of the clearest videos we've ever had, and he's on his phone. He has no computer. He has no iPad. I'm very jealous of the man and refusing technology. So let's go back when you were little. Did you grow up around people with hot rods, or how did you get into cars and other, everybody's like, oh, I found the magazines and stuff like that. But
my dad, before I was born, my dad was big into cars in Detroit, and he ran a standard station on Woodward Avenue all through the 60s up till the riots. And then we moved, they moved out of the city right before I was born. And I grew up kind of in the middle of the state by Lansing. And he would always take me to the big indoor car shows, Detroit, Lansing Civic Center, and Grand Rapids. So I think the indoor car show, seeing all the crazy stuff in the 70s, we're talking probably 77 through the early 80s, doing that stuff with him. And then obviously Hot Wheels and model cars, all that kind of mushed up into a ball. That's how it started.
So you probably got to see some crazy, awesome show rods and stuff in that era, going to Detroit and all that indoor stuff. What was the first show rod that like stuck into your head as a little kid?
Carl Casper's Pinball Wizard.
Yeah, cool. That was a quick answer too. Of all the show rods you've been around. So
yeah, I have a picture of me in front of it when I was 5.
Awesome, cool. I have a picture of me at an indoor show. Of course, this is me. How big I was in the picture, but I was probably 8 or 9 at an indoor ISCA show, and I'm standing behind a car that just happens to be one of Daryl Starbird's cars. It was the candy red T sedan with the covered fenders. I forget what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, that was a little kid. I would take a picture by the Starbird car. That was pretty cool.
One of the standouts of that time was, this would have been winter 77, and I have a picture of me with Chewbacca in front of the Star Wars van.
Awesome.
Very cool.
So that was
how old are you now? You're the same age as me, or are you younger than me?
52.
Okay, you're 1 year younger than me. I knew we were really, really close. So
You're the older brother.
I'm the older brother. Yep. So yeah, this will come up, so we're gonna get that out. We were talking about this before we started recording. We call each other brothers, and Mike Brim from Michigan, we call him a brother of the Steve and Sherry Tracy family of Advanced Plating. And there's Clara and Megan are the 2 sisters, and they had no brothers. So for years, when they were younger, some of you guys know the movie Orange County with Jack Black, and he's the guy with no job, and he's laying on the couch, tidy whities. That's what me and Dave was always going to do when somebody tried to come and date our sisters. We were going to stand there in their tidy whities and like rub our belly button. What do you want with our sisters? But we never did that, unfortunately. So yeah. I've met Clara's boyfriend, and I didn't scare him off. He's been around for a while. So if you hear us say brothers and sisters, that's what we're talking about. So
yes.
So in high school, did you have like a part-time job? Did you work at your dad's gas station, or what did you do in high school?
So by then, my dad was a contractor. So I worked with him from the time I was 12 till I was 16, and helped him, build houses, put on roofs, siding, windows, all that crap. And then once I was old enough to get a job that actually paid money, started bagging groceries at a grocery store that was a few blocks down from our house, and just to get enough money to buy my first car.
Yeah, because like working for your dad, I grew up on a farm. I worked a lot for my dad, but like you say, the first paying job, because my dad says, I'll put a roof over your head and I'll feed you. He doesn't like that when I try to flip him now. He wants to come help me, and I says, oh, let's give you a place to stay and I'll feed you. He doesn't think it's quite as good a deal now that he had for me back then. Yeah. So what was Dave's first car? Do you want to guess Dave's first car? Like his daily?
Okay, first of all, you have to tell me how old you were when you had your first car. Were you getting first car when you were 16? Or was it lower?
I built my first car at 14, but it was for my dad for a demolition derby.
Okay,
but
so that's going to be a
I was 16 when I got
Carlo.
What?
A Monte Carlo?
Demo Monte Carlo.
My dad did.
Did he?
Yeah.
He never won though, did he?
No.
What was the demo car?
The demo car was like a 73 Impala 4-door.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
But my first car was a 66 Impala SS.
That's exactly what I was going to guess.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Was gonna guess
it was
that.
probably red too, wasn't it?
No.
Oh. Well, I was going to guess red.
And small block or big block? Or inline?
It started as a 327, and then I put a big block in it later.
Cool. So what did you do after high school? So you worked for GM and stuff. Did you go to a trade school or anything, or just start working at the factory?
I actually worked a couple of different menial bullshit jobs, and then once I started working at GM, that's when I had enough money to actually do stuff to cars. So I was the 66 was my driver, but I was driving an hour and a half one way to GM. So I ended up buying a brand new GMC Cyclone for my daily driver.
Nice.
And completely frame off the 66.
Do you still own the 66?
No.
I was thinking you had one from a long ways ago.
That I really liked that car, but I didn't know how to paint then. So I tried to paint it and it looked pretty good. And then I was driving it home from work and I ran into a herd of deer and totaled the whole front end and everything. So I had to buy another car. And this time I took it to a guy's house that was going to paint it the right color. And I just told this story to Bob and Suzanne last night. So dude, I was working at GM, dude calls. There's a problem with your car. My car wouldn't start, so I had to take your car to pick up my kid. Somehow drive shaft came through the floor and wrecked the seats and the console and the shifter and the transmission and the rear end.
Oh man.
So I left work. The PG version is I beat him close to death.
Was he like street racing it on the way to pick his kid up or what?
I don't know what he was. I think he did an RD with it at about $8,000. Because it was a 427. It was gnarly. And so when I got there, before the flatbed showed up and after I beat his ass,
you have to say we're recording this, so you have to say allegedly, even though like the statute of limitations is gone. Just say allegedly, and nobody can get in trouble.
Died in jail. It's fine. I went around and everything that had Snap-on's name on it, I threw in the trunk before I took the car out. Because the dude, I'd given him a bunch of money and it was just dumb. So lesson learned, and I've painted all my own shit for the most part ever since. I've had Hall of a couple, but otherwise, that's it.
Yeah. Cool. So as you're working at GM, are you working on hot rods on the side too? I mean, I know some of these, but we're just asking the questions so other people can hear them. So
I've never not had something to work on for myself. Even when I was like doing cars for customers, but like, I finished the Impala, but after that whole debacle with dude, I painted it. It looked rad. And then I just sold it because I was over it.
Yeah.
So I actually sold that to a used car lot in Lansing for like $3,000 just to be, and that would have been 92.3. So then I bought I don't remember how many was in between, but the first magazine car I ever did was a 69 AMX. That was big bad green with, the engine that I got with it was not good. So me being me, I never really liked AMC engines that much anyway. So I put a 427 L88 Corvette motor in the AMX, and it was gnarly. That was the first car I ever got in a magazine. I think it was Carcraft.
What year was that? Do you know?
95 maybe.
Okay.
6. I don't know. A long time ago.
Yeah, I think my first was.
That's about when we got married.
Yeah, my first was like 93 or 4, and it seems like yesterday, but man, some of those memories get a little foggy the older we get. As one of our BMX girls that's 20, she reminds us that we are from the 1900s. It really hurts when a kid tells you that. They're not wrong, but it really hurts. So Carrie has a shirt that she's been wearing since she's been hurt from bike racing that says, give me What's it say?
Be patient with me. I'm a little slow. I'm from the 1900s.
Yeah, yeah. It's got like a covered wagon on it.
Yeah.
But we are. We're from the
We are.
1900s.
The good days.
I actually had a new T-shirt designed today just on a whim because, as you know, I don't like love people, and here it's broy. So I literally had a dude do up a shirt design today that just says "Not your bro."
No, that's cool.
I think do pretty good.
I think it should sell pretty good. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't really like people either.
Yeah.
So that's why we get along so well.
Yeah. There's a handful of people, but yeah, I'm like you. I work by myself with a building locked up and listen to music all day and talk to myself a lot. And I come home for lunch every day. And you live right in that building too, don't you?
No, nearby.
Oh, okay.
I just wrote on myself.
But what are you doing over here? She's having trouble with an ink pen.
Just wrote on myself.
What'd you say?
I said it feels like I do.
Yeah, right. Me too. And so after the AMX, what was next?
Oh, there were so many. I pro streeted an A100 pickup with a big block Chevy in the middle of it. That was fun. It did wheelies.
Seems like you like big block Chevys a lot.
Well, I was poor and couldn't afford Hemis.
See, I was a small block guy when I was that. I mean, I did have a big block 427 in my 54 that we built in the early 90s. Because that was my dad's donation to the project. He had it out of another car and had to be rebuilt and stuff. But I was mostly a small block guy because small block stuff was at every swap meet you went to.
Correct.
Yeah. I still can't afford a Hemi car, but I have a Hemi car in the shop, but it ain't mine. So. Oh, that one's yours? Cool. Yeah. I think there was a different car on that table when I was there in November, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know which one it was.
It was a T-Bird, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back on. We get sidetracked a little bit. So since there was a lot of cars in there that you were still working at GM. When did you do your first show rod? And what was it?
I was still at GM. And it was 2003 I did the Mysterian. So
you recreated the Mysterian because it was missing and never found, correct?
Yeah.
And the Mysterian, for people that don't know, it was an Ed Roth car. It was the yellow one. That one had the big holes in the frame, right?
Big holes in the frame, and the only Roth car with 2 engines.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I learned something tonight. I didn't realize I was the only one with 2 engines.
Yeah.
Frying my brain a little bit right there. I thought I knew a lot of Roth stuff.
I thought you knew it all.
I don't know it all, but yeah, I'm talking to somebody way smarter in the show rod era than me here. So that one you built, and then of course it was in all the magazines and everything. And what ended up with that?
Well, I sold it to a guy named Ralph Whitworth,
Mm-hmm.
who was putting a big museum together in Nevada, and then that didn't happen, and it got sold a couple times. But Bo Bachman bought it, and it's here now, and part of the Galpin collection.
So Ralph Whitworth, he was buying all historic drag cars, race cars, show cars, and if my number's right, we restored the Pete Henderson Roadster for him. About, I don't know, handful of years before he got sick and passed away. That car's now at the Three Dog Garage in Pennsylvania, which I think Whitworth had about 380 cars, if I remember right. And then he decided not to do the museum in that era, that didn't want to put the money. He sold a bunch privately. And then he sold the last like 80 at a Speed and Style auction at the Peterson. So stuff got dispersed all over. And stuff, I haven't been to the Three Dog Garage yet. I want to go. But a lot of the cars that seem like that I remember, like heavy cars and very historic cars, are in the Three Dog Garage now. Like he has a lot of the Whitworth cars that he put together and found. So
yeah.
Have you ever been out to that collection?
No, I was invited, but it's too hard to hold everything down here and get shit done. And run all over the place.
Because
He doesn't like people. So that means
he
traveling
doesn't
is
like
not his
people.
thing.
He doesn't like. Yeah.
Really do just enjoy just being by myself and working. That's what I love, and that's how I get so much done. Is I just focus. I don't have a lot of outside interruption. I just like to do my stuff.
Yeah, that's how we are. I mean, we go to events because I have a second career in race announcing. But when I'm home, like she knows nobody in the town that we've lived at here for 12 years since we moved to Tennessee. I know, like, the guys at the O'Reillys, the guys at the Napa store, the guys at the welding store, and then the local car club guy that's the late model mechanic that comes and charges my air conditioning. So I mean, I can go months without somebody coming in my shop. My customers aren't local, so I actually get freaked out when I know my customers are coming because I'm just not used to dealing with everyday people in my shop. So my shop looks abandoned from outside, and yeah, that's just how I like it. So when you sold that car, you were still at GM?
Yeah, I was still at GM, and after that one, I don't know. There was a weird time in there. I was building a 51 Merc custom, and I had a Falcon gasser and a Henry J gasser and a front engine dragster. There were so many things, but I built I also restored the milk truck, and then I found the ice truck and bought it and restored that. And then I think was when I built the Astro sled, or maybe the other way around.
A milk truck, you restored that for a client?
Yeah.
Who's the client on that?
Back then it was a guy named Larry Tarantolo.
Oh, okay. I know Larry. I grew up not far from Larry. Yeah. I forgot Larry had that. See, you're fresh in my mind on a lot of stuff here tonight. So yeah.
Yeah, and when I found the ice truck, it was here in Fresno. So I actually sent the money to Blackie Jijian, and he went and bought it for me and shipped it to Michigan for me.
That makes the story even cooler, right?
A bit.
And so then you're still at GM through all those cars.
Correct. Yeah, it wasn't, and I was still at GM when I came out here to restore Orbitron for Bo. I was still at General Motors.
Did Bo buy the ice truck from you then?
No, I sold that to a guy that was pretty big on the ham. To be clear, I hate the ham, and I've always hated the ham.
I got kicked off there years ago because somebody posted a picture of a car that I built that had billet wheels on it. I was like, I know you don't post that, but they blame me, and they kicked me off for like, I still go look. The only thing I go there for, which I think it's still up, is sometimes people send me links of some pretty cool cars for sale on the for sale page, but I don't. I've never been
I've always hated it.
The internet is like, we went to a ham get together in Indianapolis one time for a night, and Carrie looks around and is like, why are we here? I was like, I don't know, because I know that guy and that. I knew the guy from the shop because he was a custom guy from Indianapolis, and I was like, they're having an open house, but it was kind of like a ham gathering too. And I was like, yeah, I just like
Everybody
the guys
was always negative and shit talking.
Yeah, I don't like the internet. Like, I still do social media and stuff, but the big man behind the keyboard, and they wouldn't say that in front of your face. I'm not a fan of that. And the Pro Tour sites that sometimes somebody used to send me a link of somebody building something. And the one thing, to get off track here, when I really quit even looking at forum pages, like kids nowadays, they don't know what forum, because this was even before MySpace, probably, wasn't it? Yeah, probably. I remember on the Pro Tour site, Kyle Tucker, like every Friday, he would post some cool tech tip of something right from Detroit Speed. If Kyle Tucker's giving you a tech tip, that's probably a pretty good tech tip. And here, I don't remember what the tech tip was, but it was something that he was doing on one of his autocross cars. But then it was on the 2x4 stack blocks that people stack to put cars on. And I looked at this tech tip and was like, cool. There was some comments. A couple people got it. The next day I went back on and see if somebody else has a different idea for this tech tip from Kyle. It was seriously blown up, like 7 or 9 pages worth of comments. Not one comment after page 1 was on the tech tip. It was on those damn 2x4s. And they're like, oh, they should be treated if they're touching the concrete. Oh, you should have stainless screws. It's like, you guys missed the point. And I was like, totally done at that. And I like looked right, because his tech tip was basically way over everybody's head. And it was like, they could understand stacked 2x4s. But yeah.
Always sort of had this picture in my head of the typical ham person, like in a basement in his underwear, eating like ravioli out of a can and typing up bullshit.
See,
Isn't that where you met Mike?
Actually, I met Mike Brim on the ham. We were talking about that this last weekend. Because I wanted, he said, I don't remember this.
I don't remember it either.
I remembered as Jimmy Smith hooked us up because he says, you guys are going to get along. You're rod builder and he's custom builder. Well, Mike's story is I reached out to him and wanted to buy custom builder from him. And I'm like, yeah, I would have never bought a handle, but I'm still rod builder on all my social medias and everything. But yeah.
Yeah, I met him at GM.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, the ham was dumb. Anyways, I forgot, why were we talking about the ham?
I don't even know.
I don't remember.
I got sidetracked. Yeah.
I don't remember either.
So I came out here, I restored Orbitron, then I went back to work. And then I came back out a few months later and did a Mustang for SEMA. And that was a really shaky time for GM, and they were closing a lot of plants. I had already moved several times and I was just over it. They wouldn't tell us what plants were going to stay open or where our chances were to go where, even with, at that time I had decent seniority, and I just quit.
What year was that?
Out here. I moved here in 2010.
Okay. So jump back real quick a little bit. On that Mustang, was that like a new car that you built for Galpin for the SEMA, or was it an older car?
It was a 69.
Oh, okay.
I built the whole thing and then took it apart, painted it, whatever, and then we built it live at SEMA in 3 days.
Oh, okay. I remember that. Yeah. Yep. So at that time when you were going out there, were you in the building working where you're at now, or was it you're in a different building?
No, I was at the other shop at Galpin Auto Sports. This is the speed shop, and I just don't play well with a lot of people. So I like to, kind of left alone where I can just focus and noodle and do my thing without.
Was that building an old Galpin dealership building, or was it just a building that they bought for the collection?
It was a storage building, or I don't know. It's just a big ass building that they had.
Yeah, it's super hidden. I had trouble finding it even when you gave me the directions. And
yeah, but that's because you can't do technology.
Yeah, because I can't do technology, but neither can Dave. And but yeah, it's very impressive. We'll post some pictures as we promote this of some of the stuff in there. And I was honored that Dave squeezed me into his busy schedule. I had to come out to California for a couple of days right before SEMA, and I got a nice tour there, just me and him hanging out there, and it's absolutely incredible. But he's on the shop side, and it's the car version of Disneyland. I mean, I've been to a lot of shops, and a lot of the shops that have the equipment like you, they got 10, 15 guys in there working, but you have pretty much anything you need that doesn't run off a computer. So you don't have a plasma table then, do you?
At our other shop, we have a water jet.
Okay.
I just do a drawing and send it, and they do it.
Yeah. So
I do
everything else you need. He's got a little paint booth in the back, and yeah, it's incredible. So when you moved out to California, what did you start working on then? Were you done at that time doing cars for yourself? As you said, the 32 behind you is yours, or were you just restoring cars that found?
Well, when I came here, I brought several cars with me. I brought pink 59 Chevy Custom, another 66 Impala that was my everyday car.
Where's the pink 59? Is it in the building?
No, it's at our other I'm going to bring it out probably next week and start driving it again.
Okay. I kind of forgot about that one too. Yeah, you've been a part of so many cars I kind of forget, but I think you've been a part of so many cars, you've forgot some of the ones I've been on other people's podcasts and they're like, "Oh, what's next?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm blank right now." We can blame paint fumes. We can blame the paint fumes on our memory.
Was trying to do another poster for this year's show in Japan because I've been giving away the same one for a few years. And I started making a list of cars to put on it, and it's ridiculous. So I stopped. I'll just play the same one. It's whatever.
So while you bring that up, we'll go back to the chronological. The Moon Ice show. You love going to that, so you love going over there. Someday that's one on our bucket list. We have not been to that, and you always say, "Man, you got to go." You go once, you'll always go, or you'll try to go. So
favorite show, but really, what I've learned is any show in another country is way more fun than shows here.
Yeah, I mean, I go to a lot of shows here in the U.S. obviously because I do race announcing for Good Guys, and even in the country, there's in the middle of the country, and you go to California indoor, you kind of see it's the same stuff. I mean, there's new fresh builds and stuff, but they did one in Dover, Delaware, and man, 85% of cars were cars I haven't seen. But going overseas, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, you might have seen them on social media or something, but it's just a whole different thing. That Moon Eye show, they set up and it's a 1-day show and then they all leave, right? It's like a one and done deal.
Yeah.
So what makes that show or those shows so desirable for you?
Japan, it's 100% the people.
Okay.
Because they're,
and from him, I take it is the girls in Japan.
Well, remember that the culture is an entire culture built on respect for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they don't get in your space. They don't get in your face. They're not grabby. They're not pushy. They're just very respectful, very helpful, very happy, very excited. I've never been treated better at a car show than I have in Japan or Scandinavia or Europe, or it's just different. They're so excited to have you there. Where here, you've been to all the shows, and I love Detroit, I love Grand National, I like a lot, but zero of them are fun to get in and out of with a car.
Right, yeah.
Amen. I don't like any of them. I hate indoor shows.
You go overseas and you're literally red carpet, everything's just handled, and it seems really, really pretty nice.
We almost got to do with Paul Hansen and Eric Hansen's 52 Copper Buick. We almost got to do the where they go, Johnny D ships a car over and like it's over there a month. He goes to like a big indoor Sweden show and something. We almost got to do that. But then Hansen still got to take a car. They got to take their AMBR winner because the word that we got, Johnny didn't want another custom that he wasn't involved in because he's the king of the customs and over there. So they brought Street Rod. So allegedly. So yeah. Okay. So anyway, yeah, you like that show? We want to go to that sometime. It'd be great. We got a passport, so we've never been. I think that would be a lot. I've known other friends that's done that, and they said, "Man, it's incredible." I seen that you just posted yesterday the South City car, the striped car. That's
going this year, and next year my Roadster's going.
Cool. Yeah, and you have shipped over a lot of cars, like vintage show rods and stuff over there. I've seen videos because they do this like parade in to set up on carpet, don't they?
Yeah, the feature cars drive in. They open the show at 8, and then everyone lines the main aisle, and then at 9, the cars, the 2 feature cars or 1 feature car, and the feature bikes drive in one at a time for the announcer. It's really rad.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so then let's go back just a little bit. You're out there at Galpin doing cars. In there's a lot of them that you've touched or restored or touched up. One of the greatest stories I remember reading was in Garage Magazine when they found Orbitron in a alley, was it Tijuana, behind an adult porn store?
It was Juarez.
Okay.
In Juarez, Mexico. in front of a sex shop being used as a dumpster.
Speaking of stuff along that line, you remember the car at the Roadster show that was in the Katati Speed Shop booth, the A400, the Model A, that was the checkered car? Do you know the history on that?
No, but it was a neat car.
It was the sign for years up on a pole in the gay and lesbian district of San Francisco. It was the Tin Angel. It was the club in that district. That's why they wanted to show it with the checkers and the tin. They say they're going to paint. I'd leave it. I think it's so cool. And yeah, they're going to put a shiny, non-checkered, non-Tin Angel paint job on it. But yeah,
It just clear it and leave it alone.
yeah.
Did you hear that, Zane?
Yeah.
He's not going to hear that because he's not going to watch these because he doesn't do podcasts either.
Yeah, we got one guy that doesn't do them, so we're working on Zane too. So yeah, tell everybody about that Orbitron deal. It came into America and it was was a part of it cut off, and of course there's plenty of pictures of it, and you guys did the restoration on that and brought it back to life.
A friend of ours, I should say, Michael Lightborn, found the car and he brought it back across the border and he sold it to Bo, and then Bo called me, and that's sort of how it went. I just took a leave from GM. I came out and did the restoration.
So you weren't even full time out in California yet when that car happened.
No.
Okay.
No, I took I think 4 months off to do the restoration. And
that tells you how much seniority you had at GM to be able to take that time off, then go back too.
yeah, that's true.
So allegedly, I heard some crazy stories about how that car got back into the U.S. Is there anything crazy, or is that made up?
Well, so the whole story is Daryl Starbird bought the car from Roth for $500. He repainted the car and added a bunch of weird fades to it, and then toured it, and then put it in hot rod for sale. It was bought by somebody in El Paso.
Do you remember what the asking price was back then? A lot of them sold cheap as today's money.
I'm pretty sure it was 800.
Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
And the kid that ended up with the car wanted to try to drive the car to school. So apparently I don't think it ever worked when Roth had it. So he must have done things to it to make it drive, or Daryl did. Who knows?
If Daryl was hauling it as a feature car, I don't see Daryl spending the time to get it running, and they probably just pushed it in out of the trailer. Knowing Daryl, I've spent a lot of time with him, but he did that a lot. He got old show cars, freshened them up, and then toured them to all of his shows that he did. So it would bring, see this car, but now it's not just blue like it was. It's a flashier, newer color. So
the kid was driving it and the battery died, which means he was stuck in the bubble. He kicked the bubble out to get out of the car. And then they tried to tow it, and that's how they ripped off the front end.
Oh, okay.
From there, it ended up in Juarez being used in some kind of carnival. I don't know what kind of carnival, but as it turns out, the dude that had the sex shop believed that his uncle built it, and it was a dune buggy. And it was really
sex shop. He probably doesn't think too clear. Allegedly, was there ever a donkey involved?
I hope so. Once Michael talked him out of the car, and then he brought it back across the border, and it's really not that difficult. You just got to pay your way, like every person with a uniform on gets money.
See, the story I heard was a club snuck it through in the middle of the night across the border. That's what I heard.
Yep.
It'd be a pretty good story. We should change the story and add that and a donkey and just make the story that much better.
Believable as it is.
It is very believable. Yeah.
So yeah, he got it, Bo bought it, and then I came and did it, and it was fun. It was cool. It was a fast, pretty much project. And then I guess the rest is history. Like was Bo and I's first thing, and now we're almost 15 years into it, and I don't even know how many cars I've done in that time. It's got to be 70.
How many cars are on that side of the building over there? I don't know. There's a bunch. There's not 100.
60.
Okay.
Maybe more.
And then the memorabilia there is ridiculous too. The Roth stuff and the Robert Williams stuff, which that's who you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
That's another guy I would love. I'm not sure he does podcasts either, but I would love to get him. I didn't know how funny he was until last year at the Hall of Fame banquet during the Roadster show. And man, he got to go and had that place just rolling. He was my favorite speaker that night. And you're like, that's just how he is, man. Yeah. So Robert, you call him Bob, and Suzanne Williams, very well respected artist. You can see behind Dave up on the sign is a light up Robert Williams thing. And those are like, you just go to dinner with them. They're like your mom and dad or your best buddies or something. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I spend more time with them than anybody else.
Yeah. Do they not like people either?
What? No, not really. Us weirdos kind of stay in our little groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, I just last week or the week before, I'll tell you a funny Robert Williams story. So he has two cars here, the Roadster and his 3-window, both 32s. And part of the, when cars sit, you got to like get in them and pump the brakes. And you would never know it by how delicate all of his paintings are. But man, he's really fucking aggressive with brakes. And he was in the Roadster pumping the brakes, and I heard it break. And he had blown out the master cylinder and broke the return spring.
Oh.
So, and then of course he wanted me to fix it right away, and I was busy and whatever. So a couple of weeks ago, we finally brought it in, my buddy John and I, and we redid the brakes on it, but only after having the discussion of we have to be gentle from now on. Hate fixing shit. I love building it. Absolutely hate fixing things.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
So, but it was really cool. I didn't tell him I was doing it. And then I called up and asked him if he wanted to come over for lunch. And when he got here, I threw him the keys and he went for a ride. So he was extremely excited and very happy. So
was he gentle?
He was very gentle.
Okay.
And now when he comes over, he says he's going to pump the brakes gently. No.
We're glad you're teaching him something. So then when you move out there full time, because I thought the Orbitron was after you're already there. What do you remember any of the cars that you did after that?
The first car I built when I came here was for the owner of OPI Nail Products. And he had brought in a 1966 Impala convertible that was Snoop's car. And he wanted us to build that car, and he had already taken it to a couple other shops, and it was an incredible pile of shit.
I have a customer that buys stalled projects that most of them are the same. Yeah.
Well, the short version is I cut that into 2-inch cubes with a torch and threw it all in the dumpster.
Yeah.
And we bought a 67 Chevelle, and that's what I ended up building for him.
So you should have gave all those cubes to Robert Williams and let him do an art piece with the cut up cubes. That would have been great to see what he come up with. Randomly reorder them in a different order.
I did keep, I kept some stupid little thing off it just because it was Snoop's, but it's long gone now. But like it was incredibly bad. Like the floor was, I think they were gonna drive it in Beirut. It was like 3/8 thick. None of it made sense. And they had cut the whole dash out, and there was this big, clunky bow tie that they were going to put some digital gauges.
Nice, yeah.
It was all bad.
Yeah, I know a builder that he does that. It's like at least it's 1/8 inch or 3/16 flat floors, because then they said they can weld brackets and everything on it. And the car's very strong, but I know some people that have drove one of them, and they're like the sound bounces around in it and everything, which was weird because you would think the thicker steel, the sound wouldn't, but they said it's a very noisy, creaky car to drive. But man, it's got to be heavy as shit though.
I was going to say it's probably the springs and the weight.
Yeah, they're screaming, "Help me!" So yeah, after so you did that, and then I say we can't remember all of them, but what chronological do you remember? What like he was
one
still...
of the that I brought with me when I moved here was a 34.5 window, and I was going through a divorce at that time too, so I sold that car to Bo, and that's the car that became Iron Orchid.
So explain to everybody, if they're not super hot rod fans, what the Iron Orchid is. Every time I see that car, I take a million pictures. It was at the Corvette Museum out here closer to us. We live in Tennessee. I went and seen it a couple times and texted you, and that thing it's nuts. And you debuted it at Detroit, right?
Yeah, I built that for Riddler, which is kind of funny because like nobody got it. I mean, the people got it, but the judges for sure didn't get it. I didn't even make grade 8 with the car, but it was on 4 or 5 magazine covers at the same time.
So it did not make a grade 8 that year.
Grade 8, but it was the most published car for 2 straight years.
I remember the car that year at Detroit, but I don't remember what won the Riddler. What won the Riddler that year? Do you even remember?
Yeah, it was that 40 Ford that Cal Automotive did. It had the
okay.
That head with a really big supercharger.
Yeah. Good car. It is a good car, but yeah.
Not my favorite of Andy's, but it was a
yeah.
But like Rob Fortier from he was at Rod on Custom at the time. Like he gave me the whole cover of Rod on Custom and up in the corner put the Riddler car. Like everyone was really talking about.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. I was really happy with the response from that thing because I broke a lot of rules with that car because I crossed genres like all over the place with show car, hot rod, drag car, all of it. And a lot of those tricks I'd been saving for a lot of years, like the clear hood sides and all that little stuff. So it's still my favorite build.
Yeah, it's neat. It's a chopped 5 window. You said clear tinted plexiglass sides, no fenders, chrome steel slots, like a 60s, like you found in the 60s. And did you find those, then have them replated? Those old wheels?
All out of my stash. They were all NOS, but Steve still hated them.
Yeah.
It's got a 427 side oiler in it, 4-speed, Mickey Thompson cross ram. Nothing newer than 65.
Okay.
So it was a lot of fun to do. It's interesting. We recently did, all the cars just happened to be here together. So I took it upon myself to do a little photo shoot of Robert's Roadster, Prickly Heat.
Which that one is the Robert Williams Roadster. It's striped. What color? It's yellow, purple.
Yeah, it's purple and chartreuse. So it's pretty obnoxious. And then Orchid is extremely obnoxious. And I also had Kobe's St. Christopher here. So we put all 3 of those together, and they were all built exactly 10 years apart.
Oh, wow.
So it was really interesting to do that.
I like obnoxious. A lot of the cars at the shows that I talk about this on quite a few of our podcasts, but I know you don't listen to any. So, the fit and finish and the quality of cars being built is better than it's ever been. the machine and the 3D printing on stuff, the fit, the finish, the slickness of the paint, everything. But to me, 90% of the industry is lost its imagination. Like I got, the 50s, and I'm a magazine collector nerd like you are. And, I love the history. That's why we started doing the podcast. And I got some stuff at Columbus Good Guys Swap Meet last weekend. They're actually right over here. Street Rodder, Street Scenes, and Rod Action from the early 80s. And that was, I still like, not everybody does. I like that billet era when they were starting to, let's make this out of billet. And everything was ball milled because they didn't have, multiple axis CNC. And I still like, the Little John stuff coming out and the 3-piece Boyd wheels, the ads and stuff of all these companies that some are gone or I've never remembered. And it's the imagination back then. It didn't always work. And the Easter egg stuff. And I was guilty of doing all that. But the fit and finish is great, but I miss imagination and ingenuity of stuff. That's why I think I go towards customs.
Like the Frankenstein came out of that time. Troy Chapanier 60 came out of that time. They were all great cars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was fun. I don't necessarily know if I have liked a Riddler car in the last 10 years. I think I don't want to say jumped the shark, but they've stopped doing things to make it aesthetically better. They're doing shit just to do it.
To get points.
They did.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that. Like, I could give a shit about anybody's trophy. I don't care. I want to build something bitchin' that people understand, or they love it and they don't know why, rather than just be all confused as to what the hell it's even trying to be.
Yeah. So to go back a little bit, me and my wife have this argument. You just said jump the shark. What is your opinion where that saying came from? I have an opinion on it. She thinks I'm batshit crazy. Where did jump the shark come from, that phrase? Do you know?
Happy Days. It's the only place it came from.
Right.
Where did I think it? I don't think I've ever really paid attention.
Well, I was saying that, and you're like, you're just making it up. It was like Fonzie jumped a shark, like towards the end of that series of show, in shorts and a leather jacket. He jumped the shark skiing.
I have a photo from him jumping the shark.
Yeah. So that's the phrase, jumping the shark, like it's coming to the end. So
yep.
She doesn't really remember any conversation that we talk about. She doesn't even, like she says, she doesn't like people. She doesn't like me most of the time. She doesn't even listen. So
I wasn't a big Fonzie fan.
Yeah, I was. So.
I wasn't. So that just wasn't my thing. I was more of a Grease fan. So I know.
I did think I bought her a nice gift at Swap Meet in Des Moines. I bought her the LP of the Grease soundtrack. I thought, she would like that and hang it in her office. She's like, oh, thanks. Put it in the back. She doesn't collect anything.
I'm in that time frame of getting rid of shit, cleaning stuff out. So the more he brings in, I'm like, where am I going to put that? What am I supposed to do with that? It's neat. I appreciate it. Thank you, honey.
You would have
it was the thought
seizures if you walked in and seen all of Dave's stuff.
I know. I
couldn't believe I gave him something that he didn't have. He collects, like a lot of people collect the cast
club
plaques, and I lost my Lincoln Land Customs from the Midwest, the KKOA club. And I asked him, I said, man, you ain't got one of these, an extra one. He didn't even have one. So I luckily found two, and I gave him one when I brought him a gift as a bribe to let me in the building that day. It was a bribe. And he goes, yeah, I don't have that. So I'm pretty, it's you can't buy Dave something he doesn't have. I don't think.
Do you collect magazines?
Well, kind of. So I collect any magazines of stuff that we have or stuff that I've been in. But the rest of them, I have a few hundred, like I have every hot rod and custom up till the 70s. But I don't want anything really after that unless it's relevant in some way, because collecting paper sucks, man. That stuff's heavy.
Yeah, yeah. When we moved to Tennessee at that time, I have BMX magazines too. I had 65 of those storage tubs. and I've got a lot more. Like at Steve Tracy, he gave me a pallet a couple years ago, and last night he knows that Carrie is not a fan, so she made Carrie to cover her ears, and he's got somebody always gives him stuff, and he goes through them. Once he goes through them, Tim, you want these? Yeah, or I don't collect all of them, but like I probably up till 90s. I don't collect all the 2000s and all that. I'll probably regret someday. But we don't have kids. My nieces don't care how hard it was for me to build my Rod and Custom little page collection. But when I get my upstairs done at my shop, I want to have an organized library. Here's all street rodders, street scenes in order. So, because I still go back and dig through and look for some car. Not everything is scanned and on the internet. So it's still nice to go back and look at the old magazines.
Yeah, and I always, it's fun to look at, but I think after all these years of building cars being like everything, when I'm not working or doing a show, I'm much happier doing anything else.
Yeah, that's why we do BMX stuff. We just you got to get away from it because you just got to. So,
right.
Have you ever went to a cat show?
Huh?
We went to a professional cat show last year in Nashville at the fairgrounds. It was incredible. You remember allegedly how some of those like 80s ISCA tour people kind of dress slightly eccentric and stuff. And you wonder where those people ended up. I think some of them are professional cat showers, some of these people that we see. We're going to do a whole podcast on the cat show and talk about it. Was nobody left the building that day that wasn't smiling, no matter what age they were. Even if you didn't like cats, it's like, oh, this is a joke. But you had a fun time looking at the cats and the memorabilia or the merchandise. It was, people watching.
People watching.
It was, epic. I don't think he's ever been to a cat show, Carrie.
No, he should.
No, that's a lot like going to an all Corvette show.
Probably the same people.
The same people.
Fits and khaki. I get it.
Yeah. So what do you like to do when you're taking a break from car stuff? What do you like to do? I know you go to the gym.
Travel, art, mostly art.
So he's also got a collection of stuff that he collects, and he does art stuff with some of it. I don't know, maybe all of it. Is you love like the old? You okay there? Having a seizure?
All of a sudden, there's like one fly in this whole building, and it found.
But you collect, like, remember when you used to go to the county fair and you throw the darts and you pop the balloons and you could win the Def Leppard mirror with the Def Leppard logo on it, or the Kiss, or what is the country people? I don't listen to country, but
Alabama.
Yeah, but you collect like the heavy metal ones, don't you?
Yes.
Do you just collect them, or I know you paint stuff and sell the art? Do you just collect some and sell duplicates as art?
Well, I use them to do art. Yeah. So I usually make canvases out of them and then paint sort of over them, use them as a background or whatever, because as a broke Michigan kid, those were a big influence on me, because I could win something cool for $1.
Yeah. So that's why I think I like magazines so much, as like being a Midwest farm kid. Yeah, we had a great hot rod scene, but there was no internet, so that's what I lived on and memorized, and that's why I'm a fan of the history of everything. But that still makes me nostalgic. I guess I'm refusing, and I'm getting old. I'm just glad I can still read the pictures in the magazines. I haven't lost all my sight yet.
But I had car magazines, but I also was reading like Hit Parader and heavy metal and all of those things. So it was very equal for me, the music and the cars.
Yeah. We're big. She goes to punk rock shows and hard heavy metal shows with me some, but she's more of a country and I'm more not. So Nashville luckily has a lot of live music. So I'll go see country stuff. We have a lot of friends in that industry, but that's what we really love to do, is we go to concerts and live music, and so
I do. That's a lot of it, antique stores, junk stores, garage sales, estate sales. I love all that shit.
So if anybody comes across the stash of those old fair mirrored heavy metal things, hit up Dave, or if you can't find him, I'll get you in contact, and he'll probably take them.
I've got probably 500 of them.
Yeah, you got to. You let me look through them when I was there. So okay, the car stuff. Let's talk about the TV show. How that come around, and I've done TV a couple years and appeared on other people's stuff, and it was cool. I don't regret doing it. I would still do a TV show, but it would have to be something really special. I would love to do a custom show because nobody's really done custom stuff. But then again, the market's smaller. It probably wouldn't play well. Or a traditional hot rod, like the car behind you, something like that on TV. There's not been a lot of the shows that they've done that.
Yeah, because nobody wants to watch anything real. They want to see idiots other.
Yeah.
So I'm really not interested in doing another show. We did it. It was rad. You
worked your butt off for that show too.
Huh?
You worked your ass off for that show.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah.
So me and my buddy John did 8 full builds, one of which was an AMBR contender, and 4 half builds in 6 months.
Wow.
What was that? That was the truck for the AMBR, right? Yeah, I forgot you built that for the show. Yeah, that truck was incredible. I always hate it because we built really good cars that got in magazines and won awards. And I hate it. Oh, it's a TV car, but that definitely that was fit and finished and slicked, and it stood tall at the AMBR that year.
It ended up winning. It won Good Guys that year. So I mean, we won the Barris Award at Grand National with it, and it also won Best Hot Rod of Detroit. So, and that's important for the owners, because they spend a lot of money having us build all this stuff. And it's nice when they get to take it there and collect whatever. I told them it wouldn't win AMBR just because I know how all that stuff works now. And I still think that year, it might not have been the very best car there, but it was for sure the one that had the most thought in it.
Mm-hmm. What won the AMBR that year?
All right, I'm going to break your rule now, Kerry. Some fucking shit kit black roadster with flames.
Okay. Well, one of those won this year too. And the street rod of the year was a pickup black with flames. So, I mean, I'm fine with flames coming back. So
I saw that truck at Grand National because it was up for the Slonaker Award.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everybody involved and it's whatever, but I still think I don't understand the mindset because the California Kid stands on its own.
Mm-hmm.
I make a truck and try to make it that car. My brain doesn't work that way.
I've known the guy that built it. I know the shop, and I think he just loved the California Kid. And he just wanted the speed shop truck version of it, and they pulled it off. I dig it. I get what he did, and yeah, I'd like to build stuff that inspired me off of stuff. So that's what I like. Hot rods, they can kind of do what they want. That this year there was only 9 cars that pulled into the building for the judging for street rods. There was 31 street machines, but there was 9 to get in the top 5. So last year there was just as many street rods. The street rods there at Columbus, we did a little YouTube thing on talking about. They kind of go up and down every few years, and this year was the quality was great there, but there wasn't a lot of street rods there this year. So,
well, I think we're going to see more of that moving forward. I don't see any young people getting real excited about building 32 Roadsters.
See, there is, but there's not as many. Like Hunter, our friend Hunter Dietrich out of Louisville. He just sold a car. He was one of the lucky ones. He won the 2nd gen Nova from Good Guys when the giveaway cars one year, and he's had it for a while, and he just sold it. And he's gonna have Hothead Lou go look at a chopped Model A because he's building an old truck and he wants this, less than $30,000, hop in a hot rod, enjoy this. And he just, he's 25 and he is a hot rod guy. Like everything that him and his buddies work on, like the newest thing now that he sold the Nova, it's like a 54 Chevy they're working on. Everything's older. His buddies that hang around with him, they're all hot rod guys. They want street rods, but their dads or uncles were already into that too. So their family has helped them get into the cars. And so, yeah, there is less of that.
There's some, it's way less, you know, because the generation after us went crazy for way different things than we did. So the things that they're then sort of passing down it's just not our stuff.
Yeah, then, you know, Good Guys, their giveaway car was a 32 5-window this year that they show for a year. They gave it away at Columbus. Well, the car that they debuted that they're going to show this next year and give away is a Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe. It's bitching. I love them, but it's just and then I know they're doing a street rod the next year. They're just trying to please all, you know, multiple generations of people. So I do get that. So,
well, I think moving forward, it's going to have to be a little bit more broad and a little bit more, or a little bit less exclusive. You know, you can't really keep all that stuff out if you still want to have car events, because you got to follow trends. And I'm still going to like what I like, and I will never care if anybody else does. Like, I just,
See, like, I say on the microphone, I announce autocross, I fill in time, and I'm just rattling off my head. And like, we built a 63 Riviera that we debuted in 2001 to take to Good Guys shows. Why did we do a 63? We love those Rivies. We want another one of those Rivies, 63 4.5. But it was a 63 because that was as new as a car you could bring in to Good Guys at that time.
Right. Now
it's changed. It rolls every year. Friday and Saturday, it's up to 1999, 2000 and newer, as long as it's American stuff on Sunday. So next year, it'll be Friday and Saturday up to 2000. But it's not overrun, at least out the events that I go to. It's still street rods and tri-5s and customs. It's mostly. Yeah, there's other stuff that's coming that has great imagination. The little Mercur that the Canadian dudes built that was at SEMA, that thing's full of imagination, and it's like 80s styled, and they had it at Columbus. It didn't get in the top 5 because, you know, it's still a import, but it had a Chevy Ford or a US Ford motor in it. But it's just full of imagination. It's just a great car, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. But yeah, there's definitely a wide variety. That's why I like everything, but I prefer, and I go to a lot of shops. And when I go to the shops, I want to know, when I travel, I stop and see, what are you working on for yourself? 9 times out of 10, about any hot rod shop that I've been to, their personal car that they can't get enough time to is either a custom or a pre-48. I know guys that are so busy building $1 million Pro Tours, and they're like, man, we wish we could build street rods. You know, and they've got a couple like, oh, they might build a muscle car for the son, the dad's still having a street rod built. So they still love that street rod, but like the Pro Tour and sneaking up into the 70s, 80s, well, hell, even third gen Camaros people are spending quite a bit of money on. But I'm like you, I still like what's behind you, and I know you're working on a Merc, and that's the stuff that I prefer. So yeah, but that makes me feel old that I remember Good Guys was 63 and older.
I can get down with, like, you know, second gen Arrows or Firebirds, or, you know, something in the mid to later 70s. All that stuff's okay.
Yeah.
But I just don't want anything after that. Like, there's a couple exceptions. Like, I would, for some dumb reason, I think it's just the shifter. I really want like a 87 Hurstolls with the lightning rods.
My buddy Chris Ryan has one of those, and then he lowered it, put some forged lines on it, and some Willwood brakes, and put an LS in it, and, you know, a nice paint. He beats the hell out of that thing. Yeah.
You know, there's one of those running around that's all-wheel drive.
Oh wow.
And that thing's pretty rad. But I also wouldn't mind having another Cyclone just as a daily, because that thing's so much fun. Yeah. Now they're really expensive though.
Yeah. I announce, and sometimes they don't give me things to say, but sometimes I know I'm going to get, hey, you can't talk about this or something, just because the way my tongue goes. And I was interviewing the top 5 street machines on Saturday night. They do this big program at Columbus, and there was 3 Mustangs in the top 5. And I'm notoriously not a Mustang fan. I was raised Chevy bow tie, and these one guys, they had a car that was in the top 5. It is incredible. It debuted at SEMA, won a bunch of awards, and I go. And they look at me because they remember what I said. I put the microphone. I go, I really like this car. And you remember what I said at SEMA? And they're both like, I ain't going to say that because I censored myself. But I said, this is an awesome Mustang. And I hate blankety blank Mustangs. I couldn't say it on the microphone, but they remember what I said at SEMA. And I'm like, well, it's true. I don't, but this is incredible. My dad would be very upset if he heard me say I like a Mustang and then the other Mustang. So then during the awards on Sunday, I go, when a Mustang came through, I go, okay, so I guess I need to apologize to some of you people that I might have upset or offended the night before talking about that I hated Mustangs. And then, of course, the Mustang that we were talking to the guy, it started out as an Eleanor car. So thank you for removing an Eleanor car from the streets. I thanked him. And then I go, so to be honest and apologize to the rest of you if I offended any Mustang guys, I said, I don't like Camaros either. Everybody laughed. So yeah, I hope I can get through my career without ever working on another Mustang or any generation Camaro, probably. Yeah.
I've never wanted anything that's like common.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Like,
implied from you if you look at everything that you've touched. So I'd like to talk about a little bit more of the TV show and some of the other stuff that you did. Like I say, I did automotive TV, so it's really hard for me. It's almost nap time for Dave.
Me too.
That to really enjoy automotive TV. I like Wayne Carini's show. Carrie does it because I'm not going to find a Stutz in the barn. I like that the barn find stuff. Yeah, whether they're staged or whatever, I don't really care, but it's kind of cool. But your show, of course, you showed like segments of history of why, and like I say, people could learn and stuff. And then you fully restored, I'm blank on the little name, the little Roth car.
the Wishbone.
Yeah, did that. Again, 6 months you filmed. So you did 8 episodes?
Did Wishbone in 7 days.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's what people we did when I did my show. We had 4 weeks to do each build, and I had a fresh like 12 to 15 guys every week. There was metal guys, then bodywork guys, and paint and finish and wire and interior guys and all that. And that's how we did it. And sometimes a couple of grown men cried on day 2 because they just couldn't hack it. But that's the deadline that the TV puts on us for production. They can't film us building a car over a year and a half and then okay, we've got 18 minutes of episode out of it. Not everybody wants to watch us block sand and how to run the wires, and you have to glass over it all for TV.
Well, and remember, we had 6 months was the window, right? But when you have an amber build that takes up 3 months of that,
which is just stupid
That's
to think
insane.
that you did an amber that quality of that car in 3 months. That's just yeah. I'm getting too old for those deadlines anymore. That's why probably why I'm turning down TV still. But how many guys did you have on the show with you, helping you? You mentioned your one buddy. Wasn't a whole lot of people, was it?
that was it. I called in Hot Dog, and he painted 2 of the cars for me because I just couldn't keep up.
Pete Finland, right?
Yeah. And I had my one helper, Manuel, doing body work, and that was it. Bo would come in and do his scenes and whatever, and that was just how it went. So I sacrificed quite a bit because I didn't want the quality to suffer because of their shitty schedule.
Right. I was the same way. I usually spent 18-hour days there. Half of the crew that came in, they didn't get paid, but they got to get a little segment, plug in their show and wear their shop shirts. So they were getting, but they didn't pay them travel or nothing. And luckily I just brought in my buddies and we had people crashing on the floor. Like one week we had like 10 dudes sleeping here at the house. So
yeah, it was an experience. I spend a lot of time here by myself. And then to have like 25 people touching all shit just
Yeah.
spun me out.
And no matter what people think, there's not really TV people aren't car people. Like in my studio, the first trip, I mean, we got all this stuff. Miller Welders gave us 5 or 6 welders. We had one welder outlet plug in the studio for the first build. It's like, why aren't you using all these welders? Because we have one 220 outlet in the room. In the, it's like, yeah. So we finally got that straightened out. So
I actually, I had one sound guy quit because I told him to shut the fuck up. And
I allegedly threw a 2x4 with a nail in it at a camera guy one time. Allegedly.
In the restoration of the Little Red Wrecker, we were putting a Hemi back in that, and it had a small block Chevy, and the front end, that thing is a Corvair, so it's just not made to hold that kind of weight. So I was putting big block Camaro springs in a Corvair front end, and I was all up underneath there trying to compress the spring with it like this far from my face, and this dude's just talking. He's just fucking. They're not even filming. He's just in the way, and he's talking.
Yeah.
And I did that, and he didn't come back. I also fired one of the producers because he was just an idiot. I don't take orders very well.
Yeah, that's why we work by ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an interesting experience. I don't really want to do it again. You know, we did some great shit. We restored the Little Red Wrecker, the twin bathtub, the Wishbone. I did the AMBR truck. What else? Did a light restoration on the number 2 Batmobile. Did a Mustang for Joey Logano. Carol Shelby's Pantera. We did some cool stuff.
Yeah, I really like the history segments that you guys put in there, and it was really good that people could learn something instead of just people throwing stuff. Did you do 1 or 2 seasons of that? Just one?
One, and then it literally aired within the first 5 days of actual COVID. So it didn't do well, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
At least nobody can ever say that they are just TV cars.
Right. That's what we worked hard on ours too. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd say most of yours were history cars that you got to do. So
yeah, for sure.
So the last time I seen the Iron Orchid, not at your place, talk about the Corvette Museum display of all that Roth stuff that you touched a big majority of that stuff in there.
Yeah, that was a really cool exhibit. I think we had 8 of the cars here.
Which one of the ones that I love too, you guys found the original Ed Roth shop truck and restored it.
Yes. That one was really cool. That's what got me kicked off the ham. Because someone in their infinite wisdom behind their keyboard kind of made a stab at my integrity and said that I probably just painted that grill and said it was that truck. It was found. And then, well, I did what I do. And then I sort of, in the end, I'm pretty sure I just told Ryan to fuck himself. End of me.
No. You ain't got time to be on a forum page.
Well, I just, I wasn't ever on it though. That's the thing. Like everyone is talking all this shit without ever knowing any of the facts. Yeah. Because I couldn't instantly give them
the facts.
Wait for the articles to come out in an actual magazine. You're not owed some kind of instant gratification answer. You didn't find it. It's not your money being spent on it. So you can fucking wait. And they didn't like that. And then they started attacking all the things. And then it was just dumb. Like people are shit stupid.
So you said that you pictured some of those guys in the basement in their underwear. I always thought they had the perfectly dark blue Levi's with the correct measured of cuffed pant leg. They had, the exact pant leg rolled up. That's that I pictured. So you could see that too. when they put pants on.
There's an argument for that.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anybody that actually builds cars with pressed Levi's and a perfect pompadour.
Cole Foster used to have pretty good hair, and he's a pretty good builder. But I don't know if he rolls his pants when he builds. But he used to post on there too. He would always do a tech every once in a while with pretty cool stuff. But yeah, I think they ran him off too.
You see, but Cole would never be taken as a poser.
Yeah.
He's always been legit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, okay, we've talked a little bit more than an hour here, and you were like, oh, we're not going to talk very long. What?
Oh, I touched the screen.
Okay.
This is technology. It's okay. It's
the
back.
Zoom seems to, like when I talk, there's a slight pause before we hear his words, but most of them are coming through. But that might just be how it's recording. I don't know. So is your 32 behind you? Is that going to be, again, you don't have to, if you can say, I don't want to say, because you don't want somebody to steal your ideas, is that going to be a solid color? Okay. I was hoping for a lighter version of the Iron Orchid again, a crazy paint on that.
I'm not saying it won't have a twist, but by and large, it'll be one color.
Are you painting that car? The Iron Orchid, you didn't paint all that, right?
That painted that.
Yeah, Daryl Hollenbeck painted that. Yeah.
That car was going for a Riddler. I didn't at that time trust myself to do that quality of a paint job. And he also did the Grasshopper when I built that for AMBR.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and there's no doubt that people don't know who Daryl Hollenbeck is. He's one of the best painters out there, and another guy I'd love to get on here, but we'd have to keep him censored too, because he's got a twisted sense of humor like we do. So yeah.
He was actually in Japan, him and Terry last year. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Them around. We went to Disney together. It was really cool.
That would be fun. They love Disney. They love Disney.
I know. It's kind of weird, but Disney in Tokyo is different.
Mm-hmm.
You don't leave with your ankles all bruised up from all the dipshits and their strollers and all that stuff. Like, people are nice there, so it's pretty refreshing.
We've been to Disney. We went on our honeymoon too, and we wish they would do a no kid weekend. They sell it out. This Disney with no children, I think would be amazing. I think it would be great to go to Disneyland with Daryl Hollenbeck. I just think that would be a blast.
I think they should just have a kid day and leave the rest of it alone. Like, just because the kids ruin everything.
Yeah,
Amen.
That's why we didn't have kids. So, is there another car that you would love to do, or a tribute to an old show car, or are you guys looking for something that is still missing? It's a big question, but what's out there yet for you personally, and for the Galpin collection?
Well, I've got 3 pretty big cars lined up to restore: the Ultimus 59 Chevy, the Exonic bubble top Corvette, and of course the Uncertainty that we just got about a year ago.
You are going to restore the Uncertainty?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was plans to restore that or just leave it as you found it.
I don't get paid to leave anything alone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there, but yeah, all those are in there. Of course, you had the Uncertainty at the Roadster show. And if some people don't know, if people know the green Hirohata Merc sold for big money, that is also in the Galpin collection on the other side of that wall there. So there's some incredible stuff there. So you like to do stuff, not car stuff. Where would you like to? I know you've traveled to lots of different countries, not car related. What's your dream trip that you would like to go to a different country, or you want to go to the moon, or you want to fly to Mars, or just don't tell us you want to get in the submarine to go clear down to the Titanic or something like that. But
So I would for sure go to the moon if I could. But I actually, every year I go to a different country that I haven't been to before that has nothing to do with cars.
Yeah.
This year was a couple of weeks ago. I was in Oslo, Norway with some friends from Metallica and Tool, and did the Rock Fest there with Mike and another good friend, Addie Granoff, who's a Marvel illustrator from England, and we had just a really great time. I think next year it'll be Romania because I've always wanted to. So what people don't know about me, I guess, is cars are everything. You know, that's my job, and I love them. But I'm also a nerd. I'm a weird nerd. So I want Dracula's Castle in the actual one, which is called Bran's Castle, and it's still in Transylvania in Romania. And that's been on my list for a while. So I think next year that's going to happen.
Cool. Where's Lily at? Is she Norway right
She's
now?
in Norway.
Yeah, our BMX girl has a BMX boyfriend, and the girl that makes fun of us for being from the 1900s, she's in Norway right now for almost a month, isn't she? Or
2 weeks.
2 weeks. She's over there right now.
Yep.
Cool. It's pretty.
Yeah.
People are not.
Absolutely gorgeous, and that's what we keep saying. Is I'm afraid that she's gonna realize it's so much better than here, and they're gonna hook up, and she's gonna move over there. And
But that means we'd have a free
we
place
would
to
have a
stay
place
to go
and
visit.
stay. That's
And
true.
she's even though she's a racer, she's very fast. Rides BMX for college. She likes gas station hot dogs. She loves Pop-Tarts. And he was like warning her, like there's like hardly any processed foods over there. So she was really worried that she's enjoying it though. So it's better than what she thought.
The only thing about that area is it only gets dark for about an hour a day.
Oh, really?
And the further north you go, the less that's so.
So when you go to Japan,
Mhm.
what do you eat? Because like our fish has to be cooked. We don't do sushi and stuff like that. What do you like that type of? Yeah, it seems very undercooked to us.
I love sushi. But there's also tempura, which is fried. I got Terry Hollenbeck to eat sushi.
Yeah,
You can do it. It'll be okay.
Carrie does dry heaves if you try to make her eat a Brussels sprout. So I don't think Carrie would do
We're
sushi.
from like Iowa, Illinois, corn-fed, beef-raised people.
Well, fortunately for you, there are McDonald's.
Yeah, we don't do
Can't do
McDonald's, but we
McDonald's
might
either.
have to if we go to
might have
Japan.
to.
It's different in other countries. They actually have food standards, so it's not the shit we have here.
Ah,
True.
it's real meat.
True.
But yeah, there's plenty to eat. There's a lot of chicken. There's a lot of pizza. There's all the things.
My biggest fear of like traveling abroad
It's food.
is food. Because I love food. Do you have
Of
tacos?
all stop you. That's what you're worried about.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, they could rape me and put me. I don't care. I
Just
need
feed
to
her.
make sure they
Yeah.
feed me.
If there's a van that says free tacos and they're going to kidnap her, she's getting in that van if there's free tacos. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Japan, your go-to would probably be katsu, which is a lightly breaded fried pork cutlet with rice, and it's phenomenal.
That sounds good.
That does sound good.
So if we ever book that trip, say what?
You do like ramen, right?
He doesn't like ramen.
How do you not like ramen? It's just noodles and broth
Yeah.
with what you put in it.
I'm not a big noodle.
Well, you like chicken fettuccine, so yeah, you just
I'd be okay.
Yeah,
I'd be okay.
yeah,
with
she
it.
could
I
she could
just-
do that.
And by the way, everything that you've heard and seen and whatever about the food here, it's 180 there. You can eat the sushi at 7-Eleven there, and it's phenomenal.
Hmm.
Here, I go to like a really expensive place to get good sushi, but over there, it's everywhere.
Okay. I'll take your. I'll trust you.
No, he's going to be our tour guide
guide.
for at least a couple days if we ever go to the Moon Eye. So.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I did 3 weeks in Thailand. That place is amazing. The food there is phenomenal.
Isn't that where our sister Megan lives?
No, she's in Singapore.
Oh,
Singapore.
Singapore.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing to visit. Have you ever visited Singapore?
No, it's a little too new and fancy. I like the history.
Hmm.
So I like to go. I think this year when I go to Japan, I might try Cambodia after
Hmm.
because it's just ancient.
Yeah.
So think about it like this, right? So 2 years ago, when I went to Switzerland to the Giger Museum, I stayed in an inn, and my room was called a chamber, and it was built in 1425,
Oh, wow.
Wow.
which was close to 300 years before America was discovered
Yeah.
Mhm.
by white people. So, like everything over there is old.
Mhm.
We're so it's really rad to see.
Yeah, I remember some of them pictures you posted of the trip, and like all the buildings were just, it looked like something out of a Batman cartoon movie or something like that. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
The whole medieval village that's never been touched.
Yeah.
No car, no bicycles.
Hmm.
Everything's cobblestone. It's bitchy. So I guess I would say start using your passport
Yeah.
because even a shitty experience abroad is something you can grow from and be better for doing. It's better to learn all the culture you can.
Yeah. We see people that say what?
I said, even if you refuse to see people when you live here, like I'm social in other countries, I'm not.
Because they appreciate you over there.
Well, it's just a different dynamic. Like nobody's trying to just gain from knowing you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Who do you know? Who can you introduce me to? What do you do? How much do you make? Like, ugh.
Will you be on my podcast? Is he talking to us?
I was gonna put that in there, but I didn't.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay. Well, is there anything you want to add or throw at us or that we might have missed? I know we missed a whole lot. Usually we get done and they're like, oh man, we didn't talk about this and didn't talk about that, but we touched a lot. But yeah, we'll post some pictures, and you probably can't walk around and look because you'll probably lose signal and show the other side of the room or nothing. And one of the coolest art thing that he has, it's not art, it's his work where he mixes his paint.
Sitting right now, so I think I can show that.
The Vice.
Yeah. There. How's that? Can you see?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he always
that's
spills
cool.
paint. I was like, that's really, yeah, that's one of the coolest things. And yeah, when I was there, I took a picture of his Vice. So yeah, it's just his messy work table with all the colors, So
That's awesome.
yeah, very cool. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. You got any more questions for Dave?
I don't. It was good seeing you. I haven't seen you for a while.
No, you too, honey. It's been a minute, probably since SEMA, I think.
Yeah,
Speaking
probably.
of dark, I hope I never go back there.
Yeah, she has to work and run right. She works like really hard at that, like over 100 hours they put in, and it's gonna be harder for her this year, they say. So yeah, she didn't come. Next time we come to California, I'll have to come by so she can see the collection. You'll see. I made her look at it. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. At all the pictures. And yeah, I sat with you at the Hall of Fame dinner at the Grand National, and she wasn't in town yet. She got there the next day after because she was out at King of the Hammers, the desert. Yeah, she was a desert dweller.
I was. I kind of loved it though. It was.
Yeah,
it was
she looked
fun.
a little rough. She looked like a desert dweller when she came into town.
It
So
was hard.
So where can everybody see you on the socials, on Instagram and stuff, that they can check out your stuff? You post a lot of cool stuff and little stories and everything. That all the artsy stuff that you're doing and traveling.
Yeah, Instagram's pretty much it. A little bit Facebook, but not too much.
What's your handles on there for everybody to find you?
Just my name, Dave Shuten.
Yep. And then Galpin has one too, so you can see some of the stuff that they have. So
Beach Shop, Galpin Auto Sports.
Awesome.
okay, well, we want to thank you very much for taking the time to be on the Strange Motion Way podcast.
Cool.
Now, Mike Brim is going to be jealous that we interviewed you before him, so now he thinks that you're my favorite brother.
Well,
Yeah, you'll be okay.
Or not.
We did hang out with him the other night, and he was drinking a little bit. They all were.
Everybody was.
Imagine that at Stephen Sherry party that there was beverages, but we were making sure everybody had rides home because me and Carrie don't drink, and he was staying with Jason right down there a couple miles away. I was like, hell, you can walk that far. And he goes, I ain't walking 2 miles. So,
No, you wouldn't either.
so okay. I want to thank you for taking the time, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, buddy.
The Strange Motion Way podcast, brought to you by Royal Purple Synthetic Oils.
Royal Purple premium synthetic motor oils and high-performance chemicals have been designed to improve performance in all conditions and provide cleaner operation, better mileage, and decreased oil change frequency. That means less oil changes. With products available for your gasoline and diesel engines, Royal Purple is the obvious choice for your performance needs. Drive with Royal Purple, the synthetic expert.